On today's Buckeye Roast, it is a live show, so get all your questions in. We'll be addressing the chat directly. Big topic, Ohio State's misses are piling up. Could rival programs look to attack the rest of the Buckeyes class? We will break it down. Also, nationally, the SEC is expanding to 9 conference games. We'll preview what that looks like come 2026 and how the Big Ten ultimately won this battle. And to wrap it up, we'll set the snap count over-unders for Texas. Who's getting the most run when the lights come on week 1? I'm Chris Drew, and this is the Buckeye Roast with Ron and Q right here on Dead Air Sports. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are live for another edition of the Buckeye Roast. It's your boy Ron James here with my guy QP Ski. Q, how you doing?
It's early.
It is early. It's so early that I forgot that your name is now Smash That Like. So if you're watching right now on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. Still searching for that goal of 50 likes per episode. So if you could do us a favor and go ahead and like that video, it would help us a ton. But Q, I have a trivia question for you.
Ooh, all right. I've dusted myself off from yesterday. I put a Band-Aid on.
I'm giving you an opportunity to redeem yourself with another question about teammates. Ohio State's last kick return for a touchdown was by Jordan Hall in 2010. Which former Buckeye was his high school teammate?
Ooh, I actually know this one. Your pops, Terrell Pryor.
Look at you, Q, actually knowing some Buckeye trivia. Terrell Pryor, Jordan Hall, teammates out of Jeanette, Pennsylvania, Whippeal legends. I watched them poop on my high school in football and basketball together.
One day you gotta go grab that picture. You and Terrell Pryor.
Oh man, yeah. I ran into Terrell Pryor at like 1 a.m. at the gas station and got a picture and signed. I also got a pair of signed gloves out of it too.
Oh man, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we're 1 for 2 or 1 for 3.
Yeah, 1 for 3. You had a rough day yesterday, but way to bounce back with the first question. I have a feeling that you looked that up since I put that in a note at like 6 o'clock yesterday.
I did not look it up.
He's cheating, Googling the trivia question.
It was immediate. It was up here, bro. This is a steel trap.
Well, we got some comments to get into, Q. I also have to tweet out the show, so I'm going to let you lead with the comments.
Okay. That looks a little blurry, but it looks like Zach. What is this? I see Zach 901. He said, the fact that you're calling you Smash That Like is killing me. Oh man, yeah. That the first time I saw that, it actually came from a joke because Ron put it in. It slapped me in the face, and I was like, "Bro, people are gonna think that's literally my name." So I set myself up with that one. But on the topic, make sure you smash that like. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Robert in here, Emily. I saw my guy Mike in there. Johnny's back. He evaded all the crimes that Michigan committed. So it's good to see y'all, man.
Yeah, it's crazy though. I haven't seen Johnny post champs in the chat in a long time. Why is that?
Crooks. All right, we got Travis in here. He said, we're both wrong. The conference winners will be in order: Utah, Clemson, Alabama, Penn State. All right, guys, with some bold takes. He said Penn State's going to get over the hump, and Utah will again own the Big 12. All right, we will see about that. Art Buck, he says, I thought for sure Q was going to say Bishop Sycamore. My ball knowledge isn't that bad. It's getting a little better. You know, I had to dust off from the off season. So, you know, day by day, brick by brick, we're back in season mode. And I got the cup over the last one, Ron. You mind moving that for me?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Travis again. He said, wait, you watched the tight end interview, so I got to know what happened. Did Chris Drew get on his ass and threaten to fire him if he doesn't actually watch these things, or it has to read more? Well, I'll answer the first half. One, I would be honored if Chris Drew called in to fire me so I could sleep in on a Friday, watch Ron sit here and talk about recruiting himself. So do not threaten me with a good time.
Q's like, how dare you offer a day off? I would gladly take one every day.
You know how hard it would be you know how hard it would be to make Chris fire me? I'll have to work overtime to do that, so it's not even worth the effort. Okay, we got those wrong. We got any more comments?
No, that's all we have for today. So we got plenty to talk about today, even though I feel like we've been previewing Texas for 9 months now, and we've been talking about the offseason for the same amount of time. You would think with the season right around the corner, we'd have a ton to talk about. But as our guy Travis, the first person in the chat said, "Bruh, y'all still talking about recruiting week before kickoff? That's June, July talk."
Hey man, the recruiting is year round. The blood of college football, so it never ends. Especially if your team sucks, then that's all you talk about is recruiting.
But we got plenty to get into, Q.
All right, we'll play that song. Let's get into it. Smash that like.
Comments are going to go from "I can't believe you call him Smash That Like" to why does Smash That Like always talk in third person?
Oh man, I will be free. We need 50 likes for 3 straight shows.
50 likes for 3 straight shows, and we will give Q his name back. But until then, he is legally Smash That Like. But I wanted to pivot a little bit and talk a little national football, well, not national college football topic. Do a little bit of pocket watching, even though not too player to do, but we're going to do it anyways today. Q, the highest paid quarterbacks in college football have been released. And when I look at these names, man, the first thing I think is, y'all are paying too much.
Man, this is a little bit crazy of a list. I know this is surely a lot of guesstimation. This is not a real. This is from 0-3, I would bet. But I want to ask you, Ron. We got 5, 6 quarterbacks above $3 million. I want to ask you and the chat here. What is your bar for like a $3 million quarterback? So if I count here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I was right. 6. So what is the bar for a $3 million quarterback? Like, what are you expecting? Are you expecting a first rounder? Are you expecting like a dude to be in the Heisman kit? Like, what is your expectations for a $3 million quarterback? You in the chat, let me know.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the bar of desperation that people would be willing to pay $3 million. Because when you take a look at these teams, Michigan, they haven't had a quarterback since Tom Brady. Nebraska, again, probably since around the time Tom Brady was playing football. Miami, they haven't won an ACC championship in 20 years. Penn State hasn't won a natty since the 80s. Duke, a basketball school. And then Texas, they've been trying to return to glory. This seems more about the bar of desperation in Michigan coming off a national championship. Not even that desperate. That's just a flex right there.
Yeah, very true. You are right. Duke, they are really putting their money in the football. They got $4 million spent on the quarterback. Clearly, some of those basketball players left some pocket change behind to get the program going. But man, if you're spending $3 million on a quarterback, he better be in the Heisman race. Like you better not lose more than 3-4 games, and your quarterback better be in the Heisman race, because that sounds like what $3 million would get you.
Q, are you familiar with how much Cooper Flagg allegedly signed for in college?
So I did not believe it, but the word was that New Balance had gave him $28 million to go to Duke, even though they're a Nike school.
So he reportedly received $15 million from Fanatics and $13 million from New Balance, for a total of $28 million in NIL earnings in his first year at Duke. The New Balance and the Fanatics deals were both multi-year deals, but I don't care if they're multi-year deals. I made $28 million before I ever stepped foot in the NBA. That's insane. And when people talk about Duke, I mean, and laugh about them potentially being a contender, you see what they're spending at quarterback. They went out and they got a guy like Manny Diaz. They're able to do it in basketball. Their roster is insane. They have a general manager on the roster before anyone had general managers in college football. There's an article about her, and they asked her about her job at Nike before she got to Duke, and they asked her what's the hardest thing, and she said moving large amounts of cash through airports. Like, that's the type of bad game that they're on right now. So if they expand that office to the football program, watch out for the Blue Devils.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I remember when that first signed. Does she do basketball and football, or is she basketball? Then they mirror
just
somebody
basketball.
Okay. So yeah, I remember when she got signed, and I said, "Damn, they got a Nike exhibit. They're really going to know how to move money." And you saw, I mean, the Duke recruiting is like the Alabama of football on steroids. Like, it feels like they don't sign a player out the top 50. I mean, you would think they would win more championships, but it's Duke.
Still more than Maryland, I'll tell you that. And we're still putting up banners for Final Four. So, yeah, when's the last time you hung one of those, Q? How about a conference championship banner? I digress. I thought this was a football show.
You think Cooper Flag would have a ring, but it's all good anyway. But as I was saying, no, I mean, they tell you where the game was going and certainly how to mirror your program, and certainly Duke. Their alumni has deep pockets. I mean, my cousin went to Duke. He's a doctor now, so that'll let you know, like, their alumni base is like Georgia Tech. Everyone's millionaires. Everyone's making a ton of money. So
he's donating, right?
Well, he's in med school, so he's with us. He's donating to these student loans. If you wanna hack his, by far, good luck. But I'm sure he will be eventually. But I mean, they have a ton of money. I mean, that's one of those, and not to get on just Duke talk, but that's one of those secret powerhouses that if they ever put their money where their mouth is in a football program, things certainly could change. But yeah, I mean, looking at this list, I mean, that's what I was saying. If you're paying Duke's paying $40 million for a quarterback. He better be good. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. With the amount of money that's being invested in some of these players, Q, I wanted to ask you, what do you think the most egregious payment is on this list? Who's too low? Who's too high?
Well, I mean, at the top, I would say, I mean, they're younger, but I mean, well, an Arch Manning, $6 million. What are we doing? Like, that's way too high. But if I'm looking at the bar, I think Dylan Raiola and Bryce Underwood probably double too high. If they were making $1.5 million, I'd be like, okay, you're starting quarterback at a big school, $3 million. I mean, Dylan Raiola got a little ways to go, and Bryce Underwood, you expect him to be a handoff merchant until he learns how to throw the ball. So we'll see there. If I look down the list, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier only at 1.6 compared to what the other guys are making, and he's supposed to be a Heisman contender. I would say he's a little low. I actually put in a note for LSU later that we'll talk about. So he's probably a little low. I mean, Nico only at 1.2. He's way
That
low.
was the name that I was waiting for you to get to, man. I feel like that is the congratulations, you played yourself type of moment with him. You leave Tennessee. I'm pretty sure Tennessee's quarterback, the same amount of money.
Yeah, that's where I have to question the validity of this list. I would think Nico off the books is probably he's probably living a good $5 million lifestyle out in LA to come there if he left Tennessee for it. But yeah, if this is true, then yeah, he did play himself.
But do you think he was the plan was always actually to go to UCLA, or did he play himself at Tennessee out of the money and then just have to settle at UCLA?
I mean, I feel like the way and the timing and the way, I mean, he had to have something in his back pocket, because as soon as word got out that he was negotiating, trying to make more money, like, even though we all knew out of high school, Nico was reported to make $8 million when he was in high school, and that was public record. So if he came out and said, oh, I need to make more money here at Tennessee coming off a decent season and not, I mean, obviously he was talented, but not a great season, and in the first round bounce in the playoffs, I mean, I would have hoped he had a backup school, like, yeah, to have some level of leverage. But I mean, hey, maybe he played himself, but I would think he either wanted to go home or make more money.
Yeah, man, it feels like he played himself here with the way he handled this, and then to end up at UCLA after. You already were at Tennessee. You made the college football playoff last year, and most people expected you to take that jump and potentially be a first-round pick, and now you're dealing with someone. Where would you expect Nico's draft stock to be these days?
I don't know, bro. He's about to be throwing to me, you, and Travis in the chat. Like, he's like, you know what I'm saying? Emily might be running slot. Like, it's I don't know any receivers that play for UCLA, and I don't expect them to be very good. So, yeah, this doesn't seem like a play for a person of Nico's stature, and that's the questionable thing about here. Like, Nico, by all means, is super talented. It is a first-round talent at quarterback. We've known that for a while. For him to do this and not a guy who's probably not playing in the league is a big question mark. And I'd be like, what are we doing? Like, if it was like Dylan Gabriel or something, it's like, okay, he's probably stature of not to make it in the league. If he wants to go out and make as much money as he can in college, I understand that. For Nico to do that, it makes zero sense for me. And we are going to see, the fruits of his labor. Maybe he's just that good, or maybe he really did play himself.
How much do you think this list is inflated by how many talented quarterbacks that there are in college football right now? We know next year's draft is going to be absolutely loaded, but I mean, you look at this year's eligible draft class, you got Arch Manning's eligible, Garrett Nussmeier eligible, Cade Klubnik, Lenore Sellers, Drew Aller, Nico, Sam Levitt, Carson Beck, Fernando Mendoza, John Mateer. A lot of quarterbacks to be paid, and that's not even including, the Lagways, the Rayolas. The sport's absolutely loaded at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is a talented group of quarterbacks, and obviously you need one. So certainly that's why this has so much money, because unless you take the Michigan path, you're gonna have to rely on your quarterback to win a national championship. So when I look at this list, it's a lot of talent. A lot of these guys still got a ways to go, but I mean, that's a ton of money. I mean, that's how you know this whole $20 million a year was always going to be a farce, because there's no way you're paying guys $3-4 million and still have room to pay the entire rest of your roster.
Yeah, exactly. And if there's an actual cap, I don't know how these numbers are sustainable. How do you pay a quarterback $7 million in this environment when you look at the same numbers and you see Julian Sain down there at $1.5 million allegedly? How much do you think you're getting 5 times the quarterback production out of Arch Manning that you're getting out of Julian Sain?
No, I mean, unless he's an NFL MVP, like, he better be, bro. If I'm spending $7 million on my quarterback, he better be Joe Burrow 2019 with Lamar's legs. Like, he
better be named Lamar Bo Jackson.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow Jackson lining up at quarterback, because that is the only thing that makes your quarterback in college worth $7 million. Now I say you're gonna make a ton of money with these athletes, then do they produce? Is Arch worth $7 million on paper? Sure, but actually paying him in a budgeted college football system, no, he's not. So that's how you know that $20 million is a farce.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with our screen here, but we'll roll with it.
It's $6.8 million. We ain't got $6.80 to get our screen right. Talk to Chris Drew, man. Where's HR?
Q, you had some topics that you snuck into the note that I'm familiar with. Take it away.
Okay. Yeah. So this was off the screen. So we were talking LSU earlier, and I wanted to bring this point up. So, one, I want to know if this is believable or not. So Brian Kelly comes out and he says LSU was stepping up to the game now. He says this year's roster is worth 3 times what the last couple years' roster is worth, and he put the number $18 million for LSU's current roster. Ron, fact or cap that LSU was only spending $6 million on their roster the last couple of years, for you and the chat?
Hide the money, y'all. It smell like broke. Bro, if it is true, they got to get their money up. Like, maybe hear me out.
Okay, good.
Maybe $18 million was factoring in the 13 they anticipated playing Bryce Underwood before Michigan stole him from them. So maybe their budget is coming in a little bit low because they thought they were about to pay for a 5-star quarterback, so they got some extra funds laying around. But other than that, man, there's no excuse for a team like LSU to only be paying $18 million when you had teams last year in excess of $20 million that didn't even win the national championship.
I mean, they weren't, according to them, they weren't even paying $18 million last year. They were paying $6 for their entire roster. Bro, the school that's funding healthcare money through the program can only come up with that I'm calling major cap on that one. LSU, like the other programs, when NIL hit, they just turned the lights on. They already knew how to move money around. So Brian Kelly can come up with whatever excuse he wants for his team to be hot garbage on defense and not win games, but I am not buying any of this. We only spent $6 million and we're playing by the rules last season. LSU? Yeah, all right.
So what would you estimate LSU is spending, Q? You think they're lying?
Bro, I think since NIL became a thing, LSU has probably been spending $20 million a season on their roster. You telling me Harold Perkins was out there playing for a 4-for-4 from Wendy's and $1,000 check?
Well, hear me out. He had his great season as a rookie as a freshman, and then he goes on to get hurt and then struggle the following year. Maybe he did take a pay cut. Maybe they got him on a Steph Curry deal. Oh man, bro, your ankles are bad. I don't know if we could pay you.
Yeah, well, maybe you need to sign with Under Armour because I'm calling cap on this one, man. I'm not buying this at all. I don't know. Chat, let me know. Do you think LSU was really spending $6 million in the last couple of years on their entire football roster? Let me know.
Speaking of the chat, we are actually live today, Q. So let's look at some of these comments and see who's here with us. We got a good morning from our guy, Travis Howard. We got a good morning from our guy, Mike. A good morning from Emily. I asked John. Oh, Johnny updated his tag and is now saying 2023 champs. That's going to look real dusty in 10 years when you're still posting that. Our guy Josh Part, Ohio State falling apart. Ross Bjork needs to go now. We will be getting into that. Our guy Travis asked why we're talking about recruiting because Josh R came here to talk about it. Our guy Carlos said, considering Michigan owns OSU and what's theirs is ours, Michigan technically won the back-to-back natties. I mean, that's some Slippery Rock 1936 gymnastics right there.
Oh, fair enough.
Our guy DeMarcus Carter, recruiting made me have a Chris Drew crash out.
Get a bag, get 2 of them.
A good morning from our guy Ben Vargo. Need OSU to chant F Fox Sports said, I'm in the lab looking to cook this week. Week 0 parlay. Anyone else like Stanford over Hawaii? Stanford are the underdogs. Stanford is one of the worst college football programs out there right now. I would not tell that. I'm sorry. I cannot jump on that parlay with you. Q, how you feeling about Hawaii and Stanford?
Yeah, I'd take Hawaii at minus money. But if you're all right, come back and let us know that we were all wrong for our week 0 matchup pick.
We are going to get right into week 0 here in a second after we finish shouting out everybody in the chat. A big shout out to our guy, Timothy T. That a lot of tuition fees, bruh. Don't I know it?
A lot of student loans they're leveraging.
A Rizzle with a what up in the chat. Trying to make sure I don't miss anyone. Our guy Tree Dog said, Johnny be everywhere. Ain't that the truth? I see Johnny on every show. It makes it feel a little less special that he watches ours every day because it's like he watches everybody. We're not special. Elton J. Cazares, we'll go with Hammer Suck Eyes. Good one. Wrong program here. We're not the Hammer program. Why did Houston give Connor Wig $1 million? I have no idea what that's in reference to. Oh, Connor Wegman. Yeah. I was like, who's Connor Wig? It's not a baseball show. Is he a pitcher? DeMarcus Carter, again, Michigan's fans and Ohio State stream this early is diabolical. They love us around here, man. We are their favorite ops. That's everybody from last but not least, our guy Charles Green. Good morning. Finally back in the States. I believe he was in Indonesia traveling. So glad to have you back here and able to catch the show live in the morning. Q, we got some week 0 to discuss. College football is officially back. We've been discussing for weeks that when we're going to actually record on Sundays because we're trying to let you preserve your weekends outside in Arizona as much as possible before we have to lock in for college football. So I have to ask you, are you going to be in the streets? Or are you actually going to watch a game now that college football is back? Starting off at noon in Dublin, Ireland, we have Iowa State taking on Kansas State. Will you be watching?
Oh, man, of course. You know me, if I'm not in the library, studying up on my history, I'm outside watching Ohio State football and college football nationally. That's what I'm here for, man. Out here podcasting, getting my knowledge up. College football is back, baby.
So I know darn well you're not going to be watching that game, but I will be watching Avery Johnson to see how he looks in that game. But Q, I wanted to get your thoughts on college football in Europe.
So we've been doing this for a few years now. I am not the biggest fan of college football in Europe. Like, they're not pros. I don't think they need to be I mean, I guess it's a cool experience. You don't get to travel internationally. I should with NIL. Their summer vacations now probably go to Europe. They're probably in Monaco at the Grand Prix. But I don't know, man. It's a lot. College football is so short. You only get so many games on campus. If you're going to spend the game, I would rather it be on one of the campuses so the kids can enjoy it. I don't necessarily know. I get they want to grow the game or whatever, but it's like you got pros for that. Send them overseas. Like, kids, let them.
I'm right there with you, but I'm all for the grow the game argument for one simple reason. I gotta see the United States play football in the Olympics one time before I die. There's nothing I want to see more. So as much as they can grow the game and put football in front of people in other countries, like, do you remember like when the Dream Team finally they started sending pros for basketball in the Olympics and they send the Dream Team and they beat everybody by 40? Yes. That's a game that's not violent. What does beating everyone around the world look like 40 in one of the most violent sports in the world? The United States is going to be out there decapitating people in the Olympics if they ever expand football for the Olympics. While I hate seeing college football played in Europe, anything to grow the game if it leads to me potentially seeing France versus the United States in football.
Well, see, Ron, I only have one pushback for you. we saw what happened when Japan played the USA a couple of years ago in whatever football international games those
Man, they had Coach JB out there coaching and people from the 40 U All-Stars out there. If they put a real team out there, we beat the life out of them, bro.
Oh, man, the boys, I heard they're still out there. I heard they never came back home because they weren't their passports got denied after those games.
They should have been revoked. You got to go play rugby in Australia after that performance.
The boys got cooked, but it's all good. We'll send better players next time.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get cooked if they keep taking the advice of that flag football quarterback that works at Sam's Club that thinks that he should be the starting quarterback on the 7-on-7 Olympic team. I'm like, not today, buddy. If Pat Mahomes wants to go out there, you're gonna have to fucking watch from your couch.
Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, no football, no college football in Europe for me. Let the pros do it.
Well, so I already asked if you're watching any week 0 games. We know the answer is no. Yeah. But will you be betting on it?
So Ron, you sold me on Kansas State, even though they didn't have any odds and they are the favorite. So since you did that, I'm gonna throw 15 on Kansas State this weekend. Or -3. You know, let me even up. It'll buy me a drink, and then I'll come back on Monday and say, "Hey, you're off to a fast start."
Absolutely. I was watching the Cover 3 podcast and their picks pod, and they were talking about picking Iowa State, and I'm like, "How dare you?" Kansas State, the favorite to win the Big 12. Avery Johnson, I think one of the best quarterbacks in that conference. I'm just betting on talent here. And then our guy, George Fitzpatrick, Buckeye legend, the man behind the Burger Gate at Michigan. You got to root for Kansas State just because of the Buckeye lore attached to it.
Of course, but in the chat, let me know. What's your bets you're placing on week 0 this weekend? Let me know. Make sure you smash that like while you're at it.
Q, there was breaking news yesterday.
What broke?
The Big Ten finally bullied the SEC into playing 9 conference games, and I wanted to play a clip explaining something that has been so difficult for SEC fans to understand for many years.
And again, the point that is just, even if you are playing outside Power 4 teams, when you play an extra conference game, you are guaranteeing losses for your conference. And when you are talking about middle tier teams from your conference fighting for a playoff spot, and when Iowa and Illinois are playing each other in the Big Ten, and Ole Miss and Texas A&M are not playing each other in the SEC, because Ole Miss and Texas A&M, maybe they are playing a power conference game out there, but they're not playing that 9th game that would be against each other. Then both Texas A&M and Ole Miss can win that game. Whereas Illinois and Iowa, one of them has to lose because it's a 9th conference game. And that's still a primary part of the equation, the guaranteeing of extra losses for middle of the pack teams in your conference that the SEC wants to avoid. So it's not just schedule strength. It's math.
It's just math. And the reason why I loaded that clip, Q, is because I could spend 100 episodes and I wouldn't have been able to say it better than that. It's simply just math. And now we're all on an even playing field. But as Josh Pate brought up last night on his show, not necessarily an even playing field now, because in addition to the 9th conference game added to the SEC schedule, there's an additional scheduling requirement that they have that requires them to play at least one high quality Power 4 opponent from either the ACC, SEC, Big 12, or Notre Dame. Q, does that now flip the tables and put the pressure on the Big Ten to add a similar requirement to even the playing field?
I mean, yeah, I would say definitely. I would love for everybody. One, the fact they actually added a 9th conference game was shocking to me, but they finally broke down and did it because we've been talking about this forever. But yeah, I mean, I think every school, honestly, Ron, I mean, it's been talked about a while, but this off-season scheduling, I think it should be some level of requirement of go play a big-time opponent in non-conference. I mean, you can have your cupcake games. Schools need that. Schools need the funding. But you should be, and I get Indiana was doing it because they're like, well, the SEC does it. Why should we hurt ourselves? But you feel like if your program is on the way up, you need that competition, you need the competitive game out of conference. You definitely need to go out there and play at least one Power 4 and kind of play one of equal footing to better your team for the season. So I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I have no problem with that either. I don't want to see my team play Grambling. I'm sorry. I want to see competitive football week in and week out, and I think this takes us one step closer. And after the way the Big Ten has cried for years, it would be hypocritical not to match the scheduling requirements. It's always been the argument about being on equal footing. Well, let's make this truly equal and I feel like it does nothing but help the rankings, the more data points that you have of these teams playing each other across conferences. And I feel like that mandate should be across the Big Ten as well.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about a while ago, I don't know if necessarily I'm going to use the word automated, even though that's not the word, but if you're a top 10 team, you should be going out playing a top, 20 team matchup, before your conference season starts. If you're a top 25 team, you should be out there playing another top 25 team before the conference season starts. You should be made to travel. I remember we had that one stat a long time ago that was I think it was Alabama or somebody hadn't played a road game, over the Mason-Dixon line in 10 years. I don't know if it was Alabama, but it was one of those schools. And it's what kind of, who is it? Florida that doesn't play a game out of state?
I was just pulling up the schedule now. I believe Miami does not leave the state of Florida for the first 7 games of the season. They are home against Notre Dame, home against Bethune-Cookman, home against South Florida, home against Florida, away at Florida State, and then they leave the state for the first time October 17th. Oh, no. No, that Louisville game is home. It doesn't look like they don't play a road game until November 1st. I cannot be reading this correctly. They do not play. Yeah. I'm pulling the schedule up again to make sure that I'm reading this correct, but it does not look like Miami plays a game out of the state of Florida. Yeah, the first time Miami plays out of the state of Florida is November 1st at SMU. They play 4 road games the entire season. At Florida State, which is in the state of Florida. Breaking news. SMU, at Virginia Tech, at Pitt.
Yeah, that's just, it's been absurd scheduling. Like, you should be made to travel. You should have to go to new places, and you should be able to go on the road, play a tough team, and like test your squad. And I mean, maybe the schedule just lined up for them like that. It may not necessarily be their fault, but there should be some level of outlines of where you have to schedule for your non-conference playing. If you're going to play 9 conference games, that's fine. I get it, but at least one game. I don't know, man. Go to Washington or something, like, for the betterment of football. Like, it's not even just like college. Like, make teams travel, make teams go places and play. Like, a lot of these SEC teams do not leave good weather, for the entire bit of the year. Like it's almost a shock to see them going and playing at Wisconsin. It's like, oh, Alabama's going to Wisconsin. Wow, yeah, that's a shocker, because you never see that. Like, it would be cool to see teams travel to Notre Dame, Washington, or go somewhere. Go to Utah. At least Florida did it a few years ago, but do it on the regular.
Our guy Doug with a callback to Big Ten Media Days last year, where the UCLA head coach got lost during his speech and just said, UCLA, we're in Los Angeles.
He was just nervous. That was a bad speech, Jesus.
Q, I wanted to ask you, how big of a power move is this by Tony Pettiti? Greg Sankey has to be, the Drewski meme where he's throwing a drink against the wall, furious right now. After the way the Big Ten was able to bully them into this, something that the Big Ten has been pushing for years, and I feel like it takes them one step closer to the auto bid requirements for the college football playoffs.
Yeah, the auto bid is the important thing. So you felt they were going to have to either fold or just not get auto bids, and you saw how mad they were last season that 2 or 3 of their teams didn't get picked. So, it is a big move. Again, I'm surprised they folded this fast, but this is good for college football. We've played about it for a long time. We already know how the system is rigged. Like, we talked about it forever. I remember I've been being back on Spaces, and I'm like, bro, look how rigged the rankings are. And literally, we went down the line, and SEC fans wouldn't believe us. And I'm like, I guarantee you the best unranked team, 1-loss team, 2-loss team, 3-loss team are all SEC teams ranked first. And they all were. Like, they had all those positions. They had all the pole positions. So we know how it's ranked. I still would love to see the ESPN break up the college football and give it to other networks. That would be great as well. But yeah, it is what it is. This is one big win for teams not in the conference of the SEC.
Yeah, it's a win for everybody outside the SEC. And you talk about potential rigging for the SEC. We watched the SEC get screwed last year, and they got 3 teams in the playoffs. You have a 10-3 Missouri missed the playoffs, a 10-3 Ole Miss missed the playoffs, a 9-4 Alabama missed the playoffs, a 9-4 LSU missed the playoffs. You had another conference game, and South Carolina at 9-4. You had another conference game for all of these opponents. Not only does that add another risk for them to lose, but it also weakens their schedule for some of these other teams at the bottom that they beat up on that are going to have another conference loss. For people that are worried about this helping the SEC, they're already struggling to get 4 teams into the college football playoffs. And then you look at this scenario, if they would have had this model last year, that wouldn't have helped the SEC. That would have been potential for more losses for all of these teams. So I think it's a rough day for the SEC, and the spin machine was going south of the Mason-Dixon of all the people trying to justify how this isn't anything other than Tony Pettiti stuffing Greg Sankey in a locker and telling him get in line.
I will say I'll push back a little and say if Ole Miss, Missouri, South Carolina, and I'm missing one more. But if they maybe had one more quality win instead of a win against Grambling State, maybe that pushes them over. and gets them in there. So you can I mean, Notre Dame was really good last year, so they're going to get it regardless. But maybe it pushes one of those teams over, and you're not going to get all 4 in. So if you have one more with a quality win, I mean, that's perks for you. So I think there's positives and negatives to it, but I think it's going to put the cream to the top. What you want the clear best 4 best teams in the SEC if they're getting the auto bids. You want the clear 4 best teams in the Big Ten, and we know we're going to get those by the end of the season. So for the SEC, there shouldn't be 6 teams. You shouldn't be crying. You should be like, look, Alabama lost 2 games. They should be in. Look, South Carolina lost 2 games. They should be in, and that's going to make it a little more defined for them. Because I still believe they're going to get those auto bids. They're going to get those teams in, so it's not going to hurt them.
Q, is this one step closer to potentially expanding conferences again?
I mean, I don't necessarily know. I mean, conferences feel weird right now, man. It feels in flux, but I don't know who else is really gonna move. I mean, the ACC has some nice pieces out there, but to see a Clemson go to the SEC would be a little shocking, or to see a Miami go to the Big Ten would be a little shocking. Notre Dame is that one domino that I would expect to fall if they start to feel like SEC is getting enough teams in and we're getting shorted with just 1 or 2 losses. So that one I can see, but I don't know if we're set for any more major, because if we get any more conferences adding teams, we're literally going to have 2 conferences.
And that was my next question. It feels like it may be inevitable that we eventually move to 24-team conferences. But if we do see some sort of conference expansion, Q, and you could add 2 teams to the Big Ten, and let us know in the chat, if you could add any 2 teams to the Big Ten, who would they be? Q, would you go for money? Would you go for football? Would you go for another sport? How would you improve the Big Ten through conference expansion?
Football is king. Actually, funny enough, I think I keep going back to Spaces because we've had this convo a bunch in there, and we're just shooting it. I mean, obviously, first you go with Notre Dame. They're going to add an immense value to the Big Ten. No one really likes Notre Dame. I get that point for their antics over the years, but I think them adding it to the Big Ten was worth another $20 million per team when we were originally talking about it maybe a year or 2 ago. So I think Notre Dame is the value pick, and I would probably go Miami, to be honest. You think about having a Big Ten school in Florida, just a recruiting ground. We've heard a bunch of schools trying to go down there and get their foot in there, and I think, Florida, Texas, and Georgia are the 3 things you look at. We're in California now, so those are the other pieces to where if you really want to recruit, those are the places you need to do it well if you want elite talent. So I would go for a Miami and Notre Dame partnership. It's another rivalry. Bring them in. That's another probably at least 1. Miami should be good. So 1.5 teams that are competing at the top for a Big Ten championship.
I didn't even consider the rivalry factor with those 2 teams, but the 2 teams that I picked, I did consider the rivalry factor, and I went with North Carolina and Duke because it would add the best rivalry in college basketball, which would then put the 2 best rivalries in college sports all in the Big Ten, with Ohio State, Michigan in football, Duke, North Carolina in basketball. I think it bolsters the basketball of the Big Ten. It brings in 2 huge brands into the conference, and both teams that are continuing to spend. You see Bill Belichick hired at North Carolina. You just saw what Duke is spending on a quarterback. I think those would be 2 great additions.
Yeah, I mean, fair point. I could see it. I mean, definitely adding in the basketball aspect to it, and those 2 they're a little bit more south. They're spending some money, so it wouldn't be bad. I mean, Georgia Tech, and somebody mentioned in the chat, would be my one. If I could pull another one, getting that Georgia recruiting ground would be great, but I'm not picking Georgia Tech over Miami, so that would have been like my next one in. But I mean, I think there's immense value out there. Again, if one more domino falls, like other than maybe Notre Dame actually joining the ACC, it's 2 conferences, man. It's almost up, and then the Pac-2 is gonna be like, shit, we just got back in the game, and now we're back out again.
Q, I wanted to pivot a little bit and talk about my favorite topic in all of Ohio State sports.
Recruiting.
You know I love recruiting so much, so let's just jump right into it. The Buckeyes get shoved into a locker for 5-star safety Braylon Womak yesterday, something that we all saw coming given the trajectory of Ohio State recruiting this cycle and their lack of spending. You see the title. Is this officially a recruiting slump, Q?
I mean, yeah, for Ohio State to be around 10, I mean, it's always a recruiting slump. But I mean, Ron, this is as big of a red flag, and I understand we got a couple good safeties in the class, but Braylon Womak was a favorite. I don't know if he was crystal balled, but I think he was to Ohio State for some time or projected to be in there. I mean, it's not like, and again, people complain. I'm like, if he went to Texas, I get it. If he went to Georgia, I get it. Alabama, okay. Oregon, I get it. Auburn, like, bro, he's gonna have 14 tackles a game and not have a good game because Auburn is getting blown out. Like, we just talked about them the other day, having 4 coordinators on 4 different plays. Like, Hugh Freeze might be fired in a year. So the fact that he chose Auburn over Ohio State, when we know Matt G's resume, we know Tim Walton's resume. Yes, I'm giving Matt G some credit. He did have a couple guys playing at a pro level last season, so I'm going to give him some credit. But, I mean, I think Ohio State is recruiting at a good level at safety. Like, that is very problematic. That is as big of a buzzer as you can sound in Ohio State recruiting as you can go.
Should I get the soundboard?
I mean, yeah, you need one because is there work? Like, out of teams you should never lose a recruit to as it currently stands, Auburn is one of those.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn has taken a couple recruits from us, but losing a recruit to Hugh Freeze is exactly, you hit the nail on the head. That should absolutely sound the alarm because he's right up there in PJ Fleck Bozo level category when you're talking about coaches. And the fact that Ryan Day, coming off a national championship in this Ohio State program, looking to potentially repeat this year, loses out to a program like Auburn, kind of does sound the alarm for how dire the situation has become around Ohio State recruiting. I wanted to ask, with the struggles that we're seeing in recruiting right now, you know what time of year this is. It's officially flip season, Q. And we have lamented this topic for years on this program. Ohio State doesn't do much flipping. We usually get flipped. We flip a guy like Epi Satonale at the end of last year and land him from UCLA, a huge gift for the Buckeyes, a rarity as far as the Buckeyes getting a flip. Do you see the Buckeyes having a little bit of a late cycle magic this year? And are they going to grab a little bit of cash from between the couch cushions and find a way to make something shake here at the end of this cycle?
Oh, man, yeah, I mean, a famous word. So Ohio State doesn't flip guys, they get flipped. So that certainly has been lamented. I mean, no, not unless they're willing to budge and play ball. I mean, Ron, they're kind of out of excuses on reasons really not to play ball. And again, some recruitments are just going to be NIL recruitments, and I get that. And some guys are just going to take like Felix Ojo. He said, "I'm not leaving any money on the table." I understand that, but it's like you have to. There's guys who want to go to Ohio State, but you have to be in the ballpark. Like I think they said in minutes, you at least got to be somewhat competitive, and they're just not trying to be even really competitive. And I understand, like, man, and with Ohio State, we talked about no lack of money here. I mean, this program they've hired every coach they possibly can, and I'm just waiting for somebody else to get fired so we can hire him too and pay him another $1 million. I just don't there's just really no excuse for Ohio State to be moving the way they are. Like, I really don't get it. I compliance, whatever. Like, I don't understand if we just did it last season. What has really changed this season other than now we had a championship and more momentum? Like, you pulled the NIL in-house for whatever reason. Why? There was really, no reason to move that fast until you let the rules shake out. So, I mean, there's just really not excuses for it.
Hugh, so I have a little bit of an over-under here about flips. I hate to be this negative. I've already factored in the guaranteed 1 flip that Ohio State has every year. So I set the line at 1.5, Q. Or is it worse than the usual minimum 1 that we have every year, the 90 days leading into signing day?
Ooh, well, I'm glad you found in that guaranteed one. I mean, I would not be surprised if we have a couple flips, but they, get desperate to go out there and they flip somebody else. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we have what happened last year with transaction. We lost 2 DNs and we flipped one and got them to come in. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with a couple flips. I mean, heck, with the Texas Tech GM out there talking big cash shit, I would be like, I look at the Ohio State roster and be calling down the line until I get outside top 400 players. Cause I'm just like, well, everybody's up for grabs right now. So if it was me, that's what I would do. But I would say we probably have more than one flip going out, and maybe we'll have a flip going in or a late guy that we're in recruiting on.
So you think it'll be about a wash? We lose one, we gain one.
I think we lose 2, hopefully just 2, and we gain 1. So we're in a little bit of deficit. But yeah, man, it's a rough state of affairs. I mean, we're gonna have to pull a state of the program, and maybe we can dive into it a little further. And Chris would come in and give us a little info, but it's not a good time for Ohio State in the recruiting department. I'm glad the season's about to start, but that's kind of a distraction from just. It's like there's a leak in the wall, and it's like, oh, we're gonna put this picture over here. Okay, we're looking at the picture, like hopefully we win, but one really doesn't have anything to do with the other. You can have a good team on the field, go win games and recruit. Like, it's the facilities conversation. We can't have recruits at facilities. Well, Texas does both. Like, Georgia does both. Like,
but they don't have national. Well, Georgia does.
Oh shit, yeah. I'm waiting for Georgia to beat Ohio State and recruiting and be like, well, they don't have the nice facility. Oh shit!
Hot take. We're paying our guy, like our guy Rick said, we're paying a lot of money to this current roster. They don't need a new shiny facility. Like, they live in houses. Like, they can come rough it at the Woody when they're working out and when they're preparing for a national championship. I like that it has a little bit of grit to it.
Well, if we lose week 1, I'm attacking that narrative.
hey, the Woody was good enough for Max Crosby and Joe Burrow this offseason. Everybody calm down with the facilities.
Fair enough.
I have to ask you, though, before we pivot, the title on the show, is it time to panic? Are you panicking, Q?
I mean, I am a person who expects this year in, year out. So I've been talking about We've been talking about recruiting on air for 4 years now? Almost not that long, but 3 years now, live on air. So no, I'm not panicking. I expect to be in chaos when it comes to recruiting, and I expect Ohio State to disappoint me. You can only break my heart.
State's like that one friend that has like all the talent in the world, but you're just waiting for them to fuck it up because they always do. And it's like Ohio State just always decides to get in its own way. It's like Nick Saban's gone. You just won a national championship, all the momentum in the world. It's the wild, wild west. This is your chance to have your dynasty. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to sit on my hands.
It's that excuse when I fail. I just want to, give somebody else a chance. Ohio State just wants to give somebody else a chance right now to acquire more talent so we have a good national championship game.
Q, before we get out of here, I wanted to talk a little bit of week 1 and Texas and play a snap count over under. I looked at some of the snap counts last year from the Tennessee game to set these lines to get an idea where some of these people will be at. No pun intended. We are going to start with James Peoples. Last year, we saw Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins have 28 and 33 snaps in that game, respectively. I set the James Peoples line and the CJ Donaldson line at 29 and a half snaps right there in the middle. Do you think that we're going to see as balanced of an attack from the run game this season between these two backs? And do you expect them to split snaps evenly like we did last year?
No, I don't expect them to be even. The rise of James Peoples, we're truly under it. Now we will see week 1, but from everything we heard about him, like, he has separated himself as I am running back 1, and these are the temptations. Like, he's kind of separated himself and took that star position. Now I do think Donaldson's going to get carries, and I think Bo Jackson's going to get carries. So I don't think it's going to be a one-man wrecking crew. But I think if we have a running back, we talk about being one of the best in the country, it is going to be James Peoples, and he's really come and broke into stardom. So I think he will be over. And if him and C.J. Donaldson are at, 29 and a half, I think James Peoples will be over and C.J. Donaldson will be under.
You brought up Bo Jackson. James Peoples had 9 carries in the 9 snaps in the Tennessee game. I have him listed at 9.5 for week 1 against Tennessee. Q, you taking the over or the under?
I will probably take the under. I think Bo Jackson will get some snaps, but I would say probably like 5 or 6. I don't think he'll quite play 9. I mean, that's a big time game for a freshman, or he's real. If he gets over 9 snaps, we're gonna have to go and reshuffle our board week 2.
Yeah, I wanted to pivot to wide receiver, a guy that has been talked about a ton this offseason and how much they will play. Brandon Ennis, newly named captain at Ohio State last year in the Tennessee game. He saw 11 total snaps. Emeka Egbuka played 31. I decided to set the line at 34.5. Do you believe that Brandon Ennis week 1 is going to immediately step in to the amount of snaps that Emeka Egbuka left vacant from after his departure from Ohio State?
I do. I guess if Mecca played 31, I mean, I'd say you have Ennis at 34.5. I mean, I'd say if he's under, I may go a little under, maybe go just under. He's going to play 33 or 32, but he's going to be right at that number. I expect him to eat up all those snaps. Guys I have questions on is Mylon Graham. I know you didn't put him on here, but Mylon Graham, really interested to see. This is a week one's going to tell us a lot about where he's at in the pecking order and if Brian Harline's going to rotate. Another guy is Bryson Rodgers. We've heard a lot about him. We've heard we heard he's like the next guy up in the pecking order. So if he's good enough to play at Ohio State, he's going to get some snaps. That should tell you is if Bryson Rodgers is going to be around here much longer, because he has to play at this point and get some snaps, or he's not going to be here. So that is a guy where maybe if I put over under at 12 snaps, he probably should be pushing that over and giving some guys on the outside maybe a little bit of relief. I know you don't want Jeremiah Smith to ever step off the field, but he's got to at least play a little bit. So those are 2 guys I'm looking at.
Chatty Cathy, I tell this man Q, hey, let's wrap these up. I got to get out of here for work. And he's adding people that aren't even on the list. CJ Hicks, 22.5 snaps. I set him at 22.5 because if you look at the 2 deep from the Tennessee game, you saw 5 defensive ends get in the game and have and get snaps in that game. Kenyatta Jackson with 23, Mitchell Melton with 20, Caden Curry at 17. To be firmly within that 2 deep, I would estimate about 22.5 snaps. Would you go over under for CJ Hicks 22.5 snaps?
I'll go under, but I'll say just under.
Just under. Any more insight into why you're going under there?
Well, I was trying to speed it up. You said that took so long. I just feel like CJ Hicks was going to be a pass rush specialist, so I think Caden Curry will eat those snaps. They talked about Bo coming in and how well he's played. I think he's just going to be a special situation guy, but 20 snaps, if he gets after it, it's not bad at all.
I skipped over someone on the offense. I have Jelani Thurman at 24.5 snaps. When you look at the snaps from last season, G. Scott had about 34 in the Tennessee game. Will Kazmarek, 32. Jelani only 7. Do you think Jelani has moved into that tight end 2 role, and do you think he will see tight end 2 level snaps?
Yes, and at or over. Over. I'll take it over.
Okay, I want to go back to the defensive side of the ball. Riley Pettijohn, I have the line set at 9.5 snaps. When you look at the snap count from the Tennessee game, 9.5 would put him right about what we saw CJ Hicks play in that game. So CJ Hicks had 12 snaps in that game. Do you expect Riley Pettijohn to see the field in a defensive role outside of special teams as early as week 1?
I'll say under. I think he's probably 4th in the pecking order right now, so I'll say under that.
I wanted to stick with the freshman, and I have the same exact line for Devin Sanchez. You saw Aaron Scott, Bryce West all get 12 snaps in that Tennessee game. Expectations for Devin Sanchez week 1?
I'm going to go over. I think he's going to play a good amount. I'm going to go over for Devin Sanchez.
And for the defensive tackles, last year we had Edric Houston get 16 snaps in that Tennessee game. Hero Kanu get 14. K-Mac only 10. Tywone Malone 6. Jason Moore 5. Will Smith 5. All of those names that I just named, I have them all at 15.5 for that second defensive tackle role. Q, Of those names, how many of them do you believe go over 15 and a half snaps week 1? I would imagine at least 2 of them do it, given the snaps that we saw by Edric Houston and Hero Canoe in the playoffs and their snap count. How many of these guys do you think get over 15 and a half?
Yeah, I think starting 2 are definitely over. I think Malone's over, and I'm hoping more is over. LJ talked about balance. So I'm thinking these guys are going to actually play.
Yeah, the 2 that I was going to bet on as far as the guys that we see over 15 and a half, I think you will see big gains from Tywan Malone and Will Johnson Jr. or Will Smith Jr. Will Johnson Jr. Who? Q. It's actually live and I have to get to work. Let the people know where they can find you.
Fair enough. Make sure y'all like that video so I can change my name from Smash That Like. Appreciate everybody in the chat coming through and everybody on Twitter watching and retweeting. Make sure you do that. City Boy Quitting on Twitter, Final Jobs on Instagram. Monday to Friday with my guy Ron. On Fridays we're live as we are right now. Ron, get us out of here.
Yeah, don't run. We got an action-packed day here on Dead Air Sports. Chris and Tyler will be live at 10 a.m. for the I-71 rundown. If you want to hear Browns, Buckeyes, all that good stuff, all things Ohio from Chris and Tyler. Be sure to check them out this morning at 10 a.m., an hour after this show wraps up. We also have a bunch of cut-ups from the shows this week, shorts, polls, all kinds of things going on the Dead Air Sports YouTube channel. Make sure anytime you see us, you smash that like button, hit that bell, and make sure you have notifications turned on so you never miss an episode of the Buckeye Roast. Our Friday numbers are rough. Hit that notification bell. It helps us a ton. Smash that like. We are still searching for that 50 like episode. Still not there yet. Q wants his name back. We need 3 straight episodes with 50 likes so Q can change his name from Smash That Like back to QP Ski. It's so much so that when we have AI write our show descriptions, they call it the Buckeye Roast with Ron James and Smash That Like Q. So let's free Q of that title, Smash That Like, and get those likes up to 50. If you want to find me, you can find me weekdays here on Dead Air Sports every morning at 8 a.m. here with my guy Smash That Like, talking all things Buckeyes on the Buckeye Roast. You can catch me Mondays and Thursdays in the Bleacher Report app, and Saturdays for post games starting next week. So be sure to check us out there and check me out on Twitter. That's at 2Ts2_TEES. Q. Think that's all. I got to get to work. You know how this thing ends. It's always go Bucks. And of course, OH.
IO.
Example, when things get hard in life, you just keep swinging as hard as you can, you fight. That's our culture.
I promised you we had a plan. Remember that we talked about a plan? The plan was infallible. Part of that infallible plan is getting a team prepared, ready to go, so we start practice. Our coaches know what we got. And there's not one person in America I trusted more than Coach Mick and that staff. Think about this. 130 teams either today, they report, or they've already reported. 130. 16 weeks from now, there's going to be one champion. One champion in our conference, one champion on the side of our conference. And in the country, one team's going to do this. Not 36, not 48, not 44, one. That tells you how hard it is to be a champion. To do right all the time. To know your assignments. To have 11 guys play hard on every snap. That's hard. That's why there's one. I want a hungry team. I want a hungry team. I want a team that can't wait to get out there. Where there's a bunch of players that maybe, whenever you're a new coaching staff, you haven't played much, maybe you're trying to make a name for yourself, you're a hungry football player. I want a hungry team. And last one, most importantly, I've got to coach a few of them. I want an angry team. I want a pissed off football team. I want a team that has a little chip on their shoulder. Maybe something's been taken from you. Maybe something hasn't. Maybe something's been taken from you. Are you a team that's going to go get it? You're the Ohio State Buckeyes. You're an angry football team. You got an angry staff. You got a bunch of guys that are getting ready to start a journey. We're starting that journey tomorrow at 5 a.m. You're a hungry football team, and I'm proud to be your coach. There's a plan in place.